Coming to you from the New World, this is Mushi Weekly. I am your host, Sammy, and our co-host...
Hi, I'm Div.
Hello, I'm Takt.
And our special guest for this week...
Hello, I'm Recoilation.
And this is the 7th episode of your official OJ podcast where we discuss and review your latest One Piece chapter. Okay, I'm going to start by briefly summarizing the last chapter. Basically, in the previous chapter, the cause of the incident was Cavendish's second personality, which led to the annihilation of everyone except Rebecca, who won the block battle. While Doflamingo speaks about the current status of the Straw Hats, he fails to realize that there were factors which led to his knowledge regarding this situation being completely wrong. For this chapter, chapter 735, titled Fujitora's Intentions, I'm going to describe it briefly. This chapter sparks a whole new future scenario. It's a scenario that is going to happen in the future, and we know it. Like, Oda doesn't mention these kind of things without an emphasized reason. And it'll revolve around the Shishibukai's very own system and, to be honest, existence. Fujitora giving us hints of his justice and being, to be honest, the first admiral to show clear objectives as to why he's an admiral, to be honest. It was a wonderful touch by Oda, which completely develops the character of Fujitora and gives him the uniqueness that One Piece characters always have and just makes them what they are. The tournament finally starts to reach its climax, and it's just the icing on the cake to this extremely eventful chapter. That last panel, oh my god. Okay, so the cover page. Another Straw Hat emphasized cover page, and this time it's Sanji juggling with armadillos as soccer balls. What do you guys think of that?
To be
I like
frank,
the look of his face. The look on his face.
yeah, that was one. But to be frank, I kind of like the Usopp one more than this, even though I like Sanji.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
There are a lot of things that you can talk about with the Usopp one than this one, to be honest, and I really liked it as well, the Usopp one. But for this one, I just, I liked how Oda decided to kind of, and like, I'm not gonna say mention, but influence a real life sport into his manga once again, because he did it in the David Backfight arc, and now he's doing it with Sanji again with soccer. So I kind of like that, being a fan of soccer and all. So that was a plus for me. And Sanji looks so fucking happy tossing animals. This is just animal abuse.
Yeah,
There is one of them with a spiral eye that's like knocked out. So I guess there is something with it.
Oh, yeah, nice one.
But yeah, nothing really too much to talk about when it comes to the cover page, because honestly, it's a one shot, if you will. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the summary of this current chapter. I'm gonna summarize it briefly for if you're listening to this and you kind of forgot this or this about the chapter. I'm just gonna kind of summarize it real quick for your knowledge. And I'm gonna begin with, like, in the Coliseum, Rebecca finds Lucy to tell him she made it to the finals, but notices that Lucy is different than she remembers. Sabo compares Dressrosa to Goa Kingdom, where he and his brothers grew up in, also Dragon, and mentions to Rebecca that even though things may get messy, he means no harm. That kind of emphasizes that he might smack her once or twice, just saying. Meanwhile, at the palace, Viola shows Luffy's group a secret emergency lift that was kept hidden even from Doflamingo himself, though Stairs were also available. The group prefer to take the lift up with Luffy acting as counterweight. The Battle of the Toy House rages on as Frankie launches rockets at Senior Pink and pretty much everyone who takes Senior Pink takes a missile to the face in order to protect the soldier who was unable to move. That soldier, by the way, is his equal, the executive Mark Weiss. Just FYI. And as I said a few seconds ago, the injured soldier is revealed to be Mark Weiss, who then gets up and tries to flatten Frankie with a body slam, but misses. Before the fight could continue, the Marines led by Vice Admiral Bastel shows up surrounding the toy house with the intent to arrest Frankie. In the palace, Fujitora reveals that his intentions is to abolish the Shichibukai system. Doflamingo takes this as a threat and attacks him, but Fujitora says that his orders in defeating the country from the Straw Hats still stand, and once he deals with them, he will turn his attention towards Doflamingo. Back to the Colosseum, the final battle for the Mera no Mi is about to begin and is about to reach its climax with a new battle platform, and the first to step out is Sabo, aka Lucy, disguised as Lucy. This chapter is really eventful. I mean, seriously, you're going to notice with the way we review the key points, it had a lot of things, and I have a lot of fucking thoughts about this chapter, and I first kind of want to hear your initial thoughts, guys. Anyone here just wants to... No, screw it. Div doesn't speak. Recoilation doesn't speak. I don't speak. The biggest Fujitora fanboy speaks. Go on. Take it from here.
My initial thoughts on this chapter, well, it started off relatively slow, considering the events that happen afterwards. We get a snapshot of what's happening in the Colosseum. Diamante is participating while his officers are not, obviously, because his officers are busy. And after that, we get a glimpse into what Viola is doing with Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. Sorry, not Sanji. Kinemon. And that was all well and good. But then we came to Frankie. Oh my god, Frankie. I think in the last podcast I mentioned that one of my wishes for the next chapter was to see Frankie fight, and Oda delivers again. And I love it. It's awesome. So we see Frankie fight with his rocket launcher against Senor Pink, who is... What the hell is this guy? He's brushing his teeth with a shoe polish brush. What? Oh, so hard-boiled. He's awesome. Senor Pink is fast becoming one of my favorite, side characters. And... yeah, it's a great fight because Senor Pink gets hit and you can see him bleeding, and then you see Frankie's image in his shades, and it's like, oh, so good. And then I was wondering why he didn't move, and then you get the revelation that Mark Weiss was behind him. Although why his stomach hurts, I'm not clear about that. I think he got hurt by Frankie, but it might just be a character quirk, who knows. But overall, the whole fight, Frankie versus Mark Weiss and Senor Pink, was really awesome, and I'm glad we got to see it so soon. After that, the Marines show up, which I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting the Marines to be decisive so soon. And my initial thought was, what are they doing? And we get the answer to that in the next page, where we see Fujitora! Yes! Fujitora! Oh, I can't speak about this coherently, but I'll try. Fujitora states his intentions. He says that he's not Doflamingo's ally, which is awesome. He's laying it down on Doflamingo because I think Doflamingo thought he could take advantage of Fujitora, but Fujitora's like, no, I'm not your ally. I'm just here to protect the citizens of this country. And the big revelation, he's going to destroy the Shichibukai. Now, when I read this page, I was like, oof. Oh, I was knocked out. I could only speak in caps locks to people on OroJackson or on Skype. It was just amazing. This guy wants to destroy an institution that the Gorosei set up, and it's quite amazing. So moving on from that, he says that he's not going to attack Doflamingo now. I think he's just waiting for a time when he can attack Doflamingo. And when that time comes, Doflamingo is screwed. And of course we get the end, where Sabo enters the arena, messes up Bartolomeo's name on the way. But, this doesn't hold a candle to Fujitora. And that's my initial thoughts. I love this chapter.
All right, so I'm going to give my initial thoughts on the chapter. To be honest, this is the kind of chapter that I enjoy the most, other than, climax chapters. And I really like how Oda portrayed the... First of all, I just need to say this before anything. Thank you, Oda, for not completely skipping the conversation between Fujitora and Doflamingo. I know it wasn't live, but, you gave us a flashback, you showed us the whole thing. The majority of the conversation and the highlight, which I really liked, it was the highlight of the chapter for me, of course. And the whole scenario with these two, I mean, Fujitora and Doflamingo together make the perfect combo when it comes to just charisma, in the manga. I really love it whenever they speak together. I really love it whenever they do their thing. Fujitora summons a meteor, Doflamingo cuts it. Fujitora says something rude, Doflamingo decides to land a kick, and it's just these kind of things, these small details I'm enjoying so much, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the casual fans are not seeing the things that I'm seeing, and I really hope they do from the posts I was reading. These small things are my favorite when it comes to One Piece. It's what makes One Piece what it is. And other than that part, the biggest thing really about this chapter is the reveal of the Fujitora objective. It's the Fujitora objective. And is it the Fujitora objective or the Marines objective? I'm not sure myself, but we're going to emphasize it with Fujitora for now, because that is, from what he said, is the reason why, one of the main reasons why he is an admiral right now. Firstly, seriously, Oda, I fucking love the part where I wasn't expecting the Shishibukai to be this influenced right now, because to be honest, they were just a thing right now in the New World, because they're no longer the great threat and emphasis that we had when we first entered the Grand Line, with Crocodile being the first Shishibukai, and just any kind of Shishibukai that just makes any move is like, oh shit, it's a Shishibukai. But now even supernovas are becoming Shishibukai, so it's losing its value for the right reasons, of course. It's because it's a corrupt system, and Fujitora sees it, and Fujitora wants to get rid of it. This will create an amazing scenario for the series of One Piece, and it'll create a lot of epic chapters. So that alone is just phenomenal. I really liked it, and I'm expecting a lot of it, and just the Marines themselves are becoming so much more emphasized when it comes to the arcs in One Piece in the New World, because in the Punk Hazard it was Smoker and Vertigo. Now it's Fujitora and the boys. It's like they're always chasing the Straw Hats, and they're always influenced, and I fucking love that. And Fujitora himself is just an amazing character. Like I was so afraid that Oda will do something half-assed, if you will, and make Fujitora retaliate on Doflamingo the second he notices there's something wrong, and it'll just create generic even though I'm an admiral, I'm gonna do what's right, and that would have been just simple-minded and one-sided, and I would have not liked that. But King fucking Riku was sitting in the room all bloodied up and shit, and Fujitora is just literally not even looking at him, just having a blind eye to this whole situation, which I was like, Fujitora, dude, King Riku's sitting right there. You're like a good person. Aren't you gonna do something? And he didn't. And that part was beautiful. I really liked that fucking part. And even though Doflamingo and Fujitora are allying themselves right now, we can see that this tension, this electricity, this kick, these words, I'm gonna kill you, no, let's be friends for now. And I can't wait until I see this whole scenario and this dialogue come to life, if you will. But I don't see it coming to life, because I think by the end of this arc, Doflamingo will already be taken care of by Luffy, even though it's highly unlikely when it comes to power scaling. But it's going to happen. And maybe Fujitora will land the final blow, and the credit of Doflamingo's takedown will go to Fujitora instead of Luffy, which might develop a lot of things. But for the time being, that was the main highlight of the chapter for me. I didn't even mention the other parts, but I have to mention fucking Senior. Oh my god, Senior Pink. This guy is amazing. He's a side character who has been shown in around 4 chapters, and he's already one of my fucking favorites in One Piece. Period. I fucking love him. I love his attitude. The guy is just a cooler version of friggin' Clint Eastwood. Does that even make sense? How do you do that? And if you don't see where my mindset is coming from, I pity you, and I want you to be enlightened when it comes to the greatness of Senior fucking Pink. Yeah, that's that. And I'm really excited for the fight and how it's going to go out with Vice Admiral being involved. And that fucking last panel gave me goosebumps, to be honest. It's the hand of Sabo being raised while he's thinking about Ace and helping Luffy out. Just, the magic in that one panel is way beyond what. It's not even he's not even shown yet, but his pipe is showing. That's all I'm gonna say. His pipe is there. His fucking pipe is there. I'm just gonna end it with that. And that is that. That was my initial thoughts. And now we're gonna move on to Divvens' initial thoughts of the chapter.
Okay, so my initial thoughts match and has been said by Takt and Sammy. Almost everything. I didn't expect it to go this way. I mean, generally, you have a person's title, a person's name in the title. The title of this chapter was Fujitora's Intentions. And for some reason, everyone expected something epic from Fujitora, and then they were like, I'm now disappointed because I expected more from the title. We have never seen stuff happen if the title says, oh, this character is going to show up. It's never that the character goes all out or, does something epic in that chapter. It's just that it said Fujitora's Intentions. So, overall, I love this chapter. The fact that we have the first Marine Admiral who has a goal that doesn't end within 2 days. It's a goal which he'll be working through in his career as a Marine Admiral. And the fact that we will see the Marines oppose the world government in some way, it's all quite exciting and a new development, as Sammy told in the description of this chapter, that this is setting up something totally new for the future. And the Marines it just goes to show how much more stronger and confident the Marines are in themselves if they're willing to get rid of the whole Shichibukai system. And I like the little panel where Rebecca was waving her hands towards Lucy. So they maintained they started a very friendly relationship, even though the meeting between her and Luffy was very short-lived. But then she was surprised and rather a little bit taken aback when she saw that it wasn't Lucy whom she knew. It was different. And how Sabo just brushes her off like a little kid, and he's like, I have no wrong intentions, and he just walks. And the mess up he did with Bartholomew's name and the way he entered the Colosseum ring, it was all so Luffy-like, so Ace-like. I mean, we are all hyped up for Sabo, and I think soon we'll be seeing a lot more Sabo in the Colosseum. And yeah, this chapter, from start to finish, I loved it all. And next, Recoilation will give his first impressions.
Alright, well, my initial thoughts on the chapter was that it was a really good chapter. I have not really been disappointed for a long time now. But all of you have discussed the Fujitora point to a T. I can't disagree with any of it, and I agree completely with the whole system of the Shichibukai sort of becoming a bit redundant. And it's great that he has a goal to work towards to get rid of that system, and it just added so much more layer to his character. And I can't believe you said that people were disappointed with this chapter, but I was even more hyped that this happened because I didn't see this coming. So I was really happy to see that. But other than that, when I saw the Viola part, I remember a while back I saw I sort of figured that Viola hadn't told Doflamingo everything she'd seen with her powers, which is sort of understandable knowing she's the princess, so she's not going to hint at a rebellion, but it was just nice to see the reunion between her and Wicca, like they had some past history there. And it was sort of hinted at with the last chapter when Wicca mentioned that she only talked to the royal family and that's it, but she made an exception for the Usolanders, so it was sort of foreshadowed just a little bit, but it was really good to see. And as Div said about the Sabo part, I just love the quirks they showed about in this chapter. I just loved it. Like, normally we just see him just talking with Bartolomeo at his side, and it's just sort of a little bit generic. But, like, this chapter is showing more of his Luffy and Ace side of things, where he's getting goosebumps before a battle, and he's mispronouncing Bartolomeo's name with Marin Colosseo. I don't even know what that means, but it's pretty, I love it. And I also love the part, thinking of Barto, where, when Rebecca waves and realizes it's not Sabo, and he's just mouthing off at her like, what the hell are you doing? Do you know who this man is? He's just, those two together, like, they just seem so natural together like, now, just walking together like a comedic genius probably in the future when those two keep colliding. But yeah, hopefully we can see more of Sabo really soon, because I'm anxious to see at least his eyes or something like that, and eventually we'll be able to see his face. And what else happened? Oh, and of course, my favourite part of the chapter, old mate Senior Pink. Now, I liked his character, and there's nothing really to dislike about it, but this chapter I don't often laugh to myself very loud a lot, but I laughed a lot when I was seeing him brush his teeth with a shoe brush and wash himself off with brandy, while all of his subordinates are emotional. And it was also good to see the reveal of Mac Vice. It seems they've got a sort of chemistry going on there, where he's the swimmer and Mac Vice is because they are a tag team, if you remember the hierarchy, from a few chapters back, where those two are paired together in the picture, so they're probably just like a tag team sort of thing, and a very weird one at that, so that was really cool. So I really enjoyed the chapter, and I thought it was just epic. It was just Fujitora, man. He's just, I haven't even been the biggest fan of him, but I have to admit he's just an amazing character, so those are my initial thoughts of the chapter.
There you have it, guys. That was all of our initial thoughts, and to be honest, we all had similar ideas of why we liked this chapter. We might have emphasized on something more than the other, but at the end of the day, it's Fujitora, it's Dofi Hik, it's Senior Pink, and it's Sabo, and a little bit of Bartolomeo being Bartolomeo, which is always cool. Okay, we're going to move on to the key points, which, by the way, for this chapter were a lot, and just a lot of things to talk about. And we're going to do it differently, guys, if you notice why it's different than Touche. And it goes to 3 people who actually PM'd me about this idea as well, so thank you. And yeah, we have 5 key points for this chapter. We're starting with the first key point, the interaction between 3 of the 4 winners, Rebecca, Sabo, and Lucy, and basically Rebecca, Sabo, aka Lucy, and Bartolomeo. And for this key point, the main things we want to take out of them, the main sub-points, if you will, are the gladiators being escorted to the underground. They're not going to be healed whatsoever. They're just going to go to the toy slaughterhouse. Rebecca notices Lucy is not the same person. Bartolomeo shows respect towards Sabo in a very direct way. And Sabo speaks about his past and where he grew up. And yeah, so is there anything you guys kind of wanted to mention briefly about this part or anything?
Yeah, I did. We noticed that Cavendish was asleep on one of the stretchers, I believe. Was it a stretcher? Going to the underground?
He's still asleep.
I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with him, because if he wakes up underground, I don't think he'll go down without a fight when he's turned into a toy, if he is. So, Sorry.
The thing is, even Qin Zhao sort of gave up, which I expected not to be the case. I mean, he got his pointy head back, and he still kind of, I really was expecting to just smack the ground and leave the fucking place, but that didn't happen.
Get the pointy head back, but he was also injured after the battle, and he's not in his prime, so his pointy head cannot have maybe the same type of impact. Because even the King's Punch didn't do anything. The King's Punch didn't do anything, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that. One of the other contestants actually tried to damage the walls or whatever and tried to get out or something, and he or she said that it's not possible.
All it takes is a and boom.
Because
I think Chinjao just thought it wasn't possible, and he just stopped.
Yeah,
I guess.
but I think Cavendish won't even go down that route because, to be frank, he's the only one who is uninjured. He's just sleeping. He doesn't even have a scratch on his face or anywhere. So for him to accept medical help and go into the medical room, I don't even see that happening. And if somebody tries to force him, maybe he'll get into a scuffle or a fight of some sort. If he wakes up, that is.
Yeah, it's if he wakes up. I was thinking he might be asleep. We don't know how long he's going to be asleep for. Like, we don't know the side effects of the Hakuba split personality.
I was wondering, he's asleep right now. He might turn into Hakuba again and attack the medical team.
Oh god.
Oh god.
I was just that's certainly a possibility, right? So he could.
Yeah, I mean, like the second he's about to be touched, to be examined, like his hand, they're checking his hand if there's any scratches in it or anything. Although they don't do that, but just anyway, something like that, he's just gonna flip out and go all Hakuba on them. But the thing is, why is he still asleep? Why is it, like, I mean...
Maybe he didn't wake up. Maybe it's going to be a little comedic shot with the guys carrying him in the stretcher, dropping him by mistake, and then he wakes up.
Well, yeah, what we're trying to say, all the four of us, we don't think Cavendish is going to turn into a toy. We think that he's going to have a different role than that, and that he's going to maybe assist Usopp and Robin indirectly somehow, and we see like maybe he's about to be turned into a toy. He kind of moves away, dodges that, and finds who did it, who's like the source of it. Goes to Sugar, finds Treyball there, and like just boom, 3-on-1. Because Treyball is really strong. He's as strong as he's up there with Virgo, Diamante, Pika. So we expect him to be really powerful. So yeah, what do you guys think about the way Rebecca automatically and instantly acknowledged that this is not Luffy, this is another person. Well, this is not the same person that was wearing this.
It wasn't instant. It was like she started waving her arms, and then she was like, "Oh, Lucy."
No, the second he got.
I think she noticed the height. I mean, Sabo
could have noticed the shitty scar as well.
Yeah, exactly. The height and the marker scar.
Oh my god, that so reminded me of the anime fillers with the Dugong having drawn. The Dugong drew a better scar than Sabo.
Yeah.
The scar is hilarious, actually.
I really like the scar, and the thing is, that takes away the whole topic about Jesus Burgess not finding out if this is Luffy or not until he's being pressured, and the very second he sees him, he's going to be confused, flustered. Why is this guy not Luffy? What's going on? And we might see that. Because if you think about it, maybe even Diamante, and Diamante kind of, okay, guys, red alert, this is not Luffy. Red alert, Doflamingo. Yo, Luffy's not in the Coliseum, do something. And maybe that happens. But most importantly, this is what I see. Sabo is going to turn into a ruthless person when it comes to fighting, and he might knock Bartolomeo and Rebecca out. Just, minimally knock them out, so they just kind of sway away from the whole thing, and then it turns into a three-way. Diamante, Diamante, Sabo, and Burgess. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, the first point you made there of the how they might inform Doflamingo he's not in the palace. I could see a panel where after that happens, Luffy bursts through the wall, and that's when their first confrontation happens. That would be just beautiful. But yeah, I reckon Sabo might be extremely ruthless.
Another list.
Yeah, but yeah, so I reckon Sabo would actually be quite ruthless, and he did apologize in advance, so I guess he might feel like he's got that off his chest and he can unleash now, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the thing. He already apologized before anything began.
Yeah, so he's not in the wrong. It's just collateral damage of taking out Burgess. Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my initial. Dev, do you want to say something?
he'd knock out Bartholomew and Rebecca at the start itself, and he'll be like, these guys are way above your league. Let me handle it. He doesn't want to get hurt or something.
He did tell Rebecca that it's going to get messy, but he might not do it at first. We'll see how it goes. You know what? Fuck it. I agree with Div.
Because Rebecca being there will just be a liability for Sabo. Because Sabo knows something about Rebecca's past, and I don't think Sabo will let Rebecca get hurt. So with Rebecca being there, Sabo will always be like, I need to protect this girl, and I just see him like knocking her with a kick out, and she'll be crying, stuff like that.
Yeah, and Bartolomeo doesn't need too much help, but at the same time, the three others are above his league, at his league, and we know that.
Nevertheless, Sabo could use Bartolomeo. We don't know what they discussed together. For all you know, they might team up.
They might have their own thing. Yeah, they might.
Yeah.
Right. Just if someone teams up on me, take care of the other for me for a while. And just things that could happen. But anyway, let's move on to the second key point, which is the palace party. Luffy, Kinemon, Zoro heads to a secret lift with the help of Viola. Viola leads the palace party to the lift. We know that already. They're there and they're about to go up. They actually went up. And Wika mentions her relation with Viola, and it's kind of nice, really. I like that part, and I liked how Viola is not as we expect. There's more to her. There is really a lot more to her. And she also Viola talks about her relationship with her father and niece, father being King Riku, niece being Rebecca, and also her sister, her older sister, Scarlet, who is Rebecca's mother. But Recoilation really liked the Wika part, so I'll let him speak first about that part in particular and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I don't often get things in advance right with One Piece. I predict wrong and I sort of just let it come at me and enjoy the story. But with this part, I sort of figured in advance that Viola was not a double agent. She's a double agent, but she was keeping a lot of things from like Doflamingo and not revealing a lot of things such as the whole dwarf situation with the tunnel. I'm assuming she could see Green Bit pretty clearly, so she'd know about it there. And it was just good to me to see that she hadn't completely turned evil when she was with Doflamingo or corrupted at all, because some people speculated she might have turned to the dark side just from being with him for so long and be like a traitor, but it seems that that's not going to be the case at all. And it was just sort of like heartwarming to see just the tears from Wicca as they're like meeting up again, and they had a history there, and it was just really nice. And it's a really good
as well.
Yeah, a long history, because it's been a lot of years since she joined. So the dwarves have been. I wonder how they aged, because it probably would look similar. But it was just a nice moment, and especially
they
the part
age,
that
though. They get like wrinkles and stuff because the elder dwarf.
Oh yeah, they does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just looks like a. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, the part was it confirmed completely confirmed that Scarlet was her sister, like aside from her name being similar, so you could assume it is. But was it this the first confirmation that Scarlet's her elder sister and Rebecca's her niece? It's like been set on panel. That was pretty good. Yeah,
and fucking Toy Soldier, and he needs to be mentioned as to what he is, like if he's the real father. The fact that this brings up Divvens' whole theory and the discussion we had on a previous episode. The fact that Viola didn't even mention the toy soldier. No, in that part, she did mention the toy soldier at the end, but she didn't mention him when she was talking about the relation between, like, what she didn't say, I'm the toy soldier's sister. She does know of him. She knows of his existence, but at the same time, she doesn't know. Like, she didn't say that it was his sister. Just a heads up, guys. Divvens will like that part.
Mm.
Maybe.
But yeah.
I also think that Viola should, like, the memory loss of the toy shouldn't really affect her much, because the whole clairvoyance fruit, why do you have it if you have to be affected by the memory loss, right? I mean, she can just push the truth into her. So maybe she hasn't done it yet, or maybe she does. But thinking that she's
The limits of her
Okay,
devil.
so
No.
would you take this as proof that she isn't affected by the memory loss or something?
No.
Oh.
She is affected by it.
Okay, she is affected by it. Okay.
You can
Just wanted to
recover
clear
it,
that.
maybe.
But at the same time, she knows of the toy soldier, even though she's a mere human.
Yep.
Even though Rebecca as well knows, but Rebecca was trained by him, and she doesn't even know the full extent of whether or not he's her father or not, because, Rebecca just wants to be with Toy Soldier's son. But that brings me up to the next. Why wouldn't the Toy Soldier mention his real identity, unless there's a taboo when it happens, something happens, we don't know. Maybe that's when he lost his leg.
No, it's the denial of the human. We saw what happened when one toy tried to tell that he's the husband of the...
Yeah, but she would trust the fucking toy soldier. The toy soldier. I mean, she's been with him for 10 years, and he's the only person, or he's the only creature, or whatever you want to call it, in the whole country that she genuinely trusts.
Indeed. Maybe the toy would...
That's a good point, actually. Why didn't he tell her?
Maybe
If that's the case.
he would be called defective and taken to the dumping yard or something.
But how would they know? They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca would report that.
Unless... Never mind, because if they would...
Yeah, you were going for something like color of observation or something.
No, I was going to... The sugar has... the limit to her fruit would be... is unknown. So, she could have like some sort of... If this guy mentions his identity, she would know, but at the same time, he mentioned everything but his identity to Sugar, to Rebecca, as well as Luffy and his plans and whatnot. So she doesn't have this much command into her the toys. So yeah, just that part out of the way.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like,
Because
I'm just thinking that
I just don't understand why for 10 years, even though he raised her, he trained her, he did all of this, he still didn't mention the fact that he is her father.
I just thought of something actually. Like, every time it's been shown that a toy tries to say who they are, they've been like just wildly like shrugged off. Perhaps it's just
It's just a side effect.
A side effect of the fruit, where if you say your actual real name, you're like immediately just not trusted or something of the sort. Like you're not allowed to.
Yeah, the denial is strong.
Maybe the denial is 500% more emphasized when the toy soldier, or when the toy, mentions his identity, his relation with another person.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe this is why he doesn't. You remember the chapters where Usopp asks a question?
Yeah.
Maybe this is why the toy soldier doesn't answer the question.
It's because he can't, or else he'd immediately be not trusted or something.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
When he said, "I'm her father," when did he say it? In Eternal Monologue, or was it?
No. He revealed that to everyone that he's his father. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so forget about that.
Maybe he reveals
it. Though.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say his name. Like, some people expect, like,
or maybe
Kairos,
he reveals
you can't say Kairos.
Maybe he can't reveal his name to the people who are concerned with his memories.
Yeah.
He can say it to perfect strangers and stuff, but he can't say it to people who are, related to him.
We know that Sugar is taking over power to an all new level. So you never know what her fruit can do.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And you never know what the weakness might be. Who knows what the weakness is?
If there is a weakness, because not all devil fruits have weaknesses.
The weakness could be Viola's devil fruit, like in an Luffy situation. Just clever ways to just cheat away with.
Yeah. We kind of talked heavily about the second key point. We're going to go to the third key point, which is Senior Pink versus Frankie fight continuation, and the interruption of the Marines, including Vice Admiral Bastel. And yeah, for this key point, there are a lot of things that happen, but mainly Frankie firstly is or seems unscathed by the suplex, and he's just firing rockets everywhere. And also we get an official reveal of Senor Pink's fruit, which is the Sui Sui no Mi, the swim fruit. He can swim everywhere and on all objects, through walls, through floors, whatever it is that he wants to swim through. And also, Senior Pink tanks a freaking rocket to the face to protect his Nakama, and he does it while looking so freaking cool. Just saying. Also, Mach Vice attacks Frankie but fails. I'm gonna call him Mach from now on, guys. Just saying. And the Marines interrupt the fight, as I said, along with Vice Admiral Bastel. Well, firstly, Takt.
Yeah.
One question, dude.
What?
God. I'm just gonna say it. Do you think Frankie is gonna lose by the end of this fight?
I don't know. I mean, with the entrance of the Marines, it's really it's become a brawl in a sense, because the Marines are going to attack Frankie, and Frankie's going to attack everybody, and then Senor Pink and Mark Weiss are going to attack Frankie. At one point, the Marines will turn on the Doflamingo house members because of what Fujitora will command them to do. It's just going to be a massive brawl. I mean,
the fight, I don't think there is going to get to the point where Fujitora will tell them, okay, fight the Don Quixote members, because
it's a possibility. It's just a possibility, I think.
In my opinion, what I think is going to happen is Senor Pink himself will attack one of the Marines.
Yeah, I was feeling that too, because of what he said at the end, where he was pissed off that they'd come here.
Just the way he is. I totally see him attacking a Marine. And when he does...
No, but if Pink and Mark Weiss attack the Marines... Okay, let's say Mark Weiss attacks Frankie and Pink goes on the Marines. Pink will just be busy with the Marines. Frankie could just defeat Mark Weiss and get into the toy house, which is something the executives don't want.
He's not gonna he's not gonna direct an attack for the purpose of defeating them. He's just gonna be like, get the fuck out of my way, and smacks one Marine soldier. And when that happens, all the Marines will give attention to the Don Quixote members, and it's gonna turn into from 2v1, two groups versus one person, into a 3-way fight.
Yeah, but that ultimately works to Frankie's advantage, because...
Of course.
Yeah. Because if Pink and Mark Weiss are distracted with the Marines, Frankie can just get into the toy house. Unless, of course, Lao G and Dellinger show up as well.
The main priority is going to be Frankie either way. He's not going to get out of the fight. Yeah. The main priority is always going to be, from the Don Quixote pirates and from the Marines, it's going to be Frankie. But in my opinion, a vice admiral, 2 executives, maybe even 3, too much for Frankie. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I agree there. The only part I'm not sure about is whether they'll even be directing their attention to Frankie in the first place.
What do you mean, the Marines?
No. The what do you call it? Executives.
They already are.
No, but the Marines have come into it, and like you said, Senor Pink might, go attack the Marines.
Well, Doflamingo did give him orders, Senor Pink, but we'll
stop
see.
Frankie, yeah. But yeah. We'll see, honestly, because, like I said, it's going to be a massive brawl because the Marines have joined in. It's not going to be a simple 2v1.
But yeah, Dev, what do you think about the Sui Sui no Mi?
It was kind of like predicted the minute he started swimming. Last time he was shown, we all were thinking that, it's going to be a swim fruit. And the fact that he mentioned that he can swim to anything solid or through any wall, so it's like Blue Nose door no mi, that he can create a door through any solid object. So this guy can swim through any solid object, but he can't swim in the water, so the Devil Fruit's weakness still stays there, So that was a nice way to balance the fruit out, and it also adds a lot to the fact that he used to be in the Colosseum, because we have seen the final battle ring now. And it suits a lot to his and Mac Weiss's fighting style. So I think that's quite a innovative fruit we have seen. And on that matter, even Mac Weiss's ability, I don't know if it's a fruit yet, because it's not been revealed to be a fruit, or it's just a natural ability, but it seems very similar to Mr. Five's partner. What was her name? Whatever her name was, she had the Kilo fruit.
She had Kilo no Mi, yeah.
Yeah, and this guy does the same. He gets... Yeah, Miss Valentine's, indeed. This guy does the same. He gets light, and then he crashes hard, and Frankie was like...
Does he get light, though? Does he just float for a minute?
Yeah, he did float.
I think he, floats like a balloon, yeah.
Okay, so he's the Fusen no Mi. He's the Fufu no Mi.
Then how does he get heavy? It's his body weight?
He must be deactivating it, probably.
Going back to his regular form, maybe. Normal form.
He also used the word ton. So I don't know why he used that,
Yeah, that threw me off. Like, were you talking about?
Maybe it can be like kilo and ton are 2 different fruits. Kilos
Oh,
can
wow.
go to kilos and
That would
tons
be
can go to tons.
Wow.
That would be weird, to be honest.
That'd be so similar.
I would just like to point out one thing. How fucking OP is Miss Valentine's Devil Fruit?
If used by a
But-
proper person, it is
As well
very
as
OP.
her partners,
She
too.
can make
Yeah.
Like, she could her arm, like, 1,000,000,000 weight and punch someone to the end of the, oh my god, if like an admiral had that fucking fruit, oh god.
That different admiral had, Mr. Was it Fives? The bomb fruit? Like, those two
Yeah,
were
the-
such
Oh my
good
god,
fruits.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
Luke
That
revealed
fruit is an
early.
amazing fruit. Except the guy who used it was totally incompetent.
Which
further-
further proves, guys, by the way, it is not the fruit, it's the person. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah,
Although having a logo makes you instantly the best as well, though.
unless you're Caribou, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he got a good bounty from just having it.
But he's
No bother
not
can kill him.
bad. He's not bad. It's just that he's nothing compared to good pie, like,
Oh,
Sean.
yeah.
Caribou is just
terrible.
incompetent. He's 100% incompetent.
Yeah.
But yeah, we already talked about Monk Voss attacking Frankie. We already talked about the fight being interrupted by the Marines. We already talked about the Devil Fruit. We didn't talk about him being unscathed by the suplex, but that's to be expected. And the thing is, we still don't know if Frankie's backside is still weak and human, if you will, or if he changed it. But I think he did. I hope he did. But
I think, I'm not sure. I might have to check this, but I think he mentioned somewhere in the Fishman Island arc or something
really,
that he had improved his backside as well. I'm not sure. I have to check again.
or
I
anyway.
may need to go and check that. I'm not sure.
No,
But
it's
it would be
not
pretty.
relevant.
It would be pretty weird if he didn't, right? Like he was living in one of the most sophisticated islands
But
there.
he
I
still
think
has the same weakness, which is
his weakness
arm.
would be, yes, his back armor. It's just like a tank. The tank is weakest at its behind, and Frankie is.
No,
the
no,
sort
that's
of-
not what I meant. He's still gonna have the same disability, which is it's hard to work on your backside with your
Yeah,
two arms.
that's what I'm saying. That his weakness will still be the back part of his body, but to what extent? Maybe he made a little modifications, not extra, but that is still going to, because there needs to be a weakness. He can't be a character without any weakness. That's not Oda's style.
Yeah.
I mean, Luffy.
Luffy has a lot of weaknesses. Doesn't
Okay,
he?
Zoro, what's his weaknesses? Or Sanji?
He needs swords in his hands.
Okay, what about Sanji?
Take out his sword.
Sanji's weakness is the fact that
Not using hands.
Women. chivalry.
Sanji's weakness is women and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
women and the fact that he only uses his legs. Someday that's going to hurt him.
Not really a weakness, to be honest, because he already blocks attacks with his hand sometimes, and he uses his hand to further, okay, this is
No, but
really on this topic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, backside, he probably worked on it. He more or less maybe improved it a little bit. Maybe the shoulder sides, maybe the leg side, the calves, maybe just something that he worked on. And maybe General Frankie has an automatic bot system where General Frankie worked on his. We don't know, just stuff.
AI. AI.
Oh my god, Frankie Shogun doing modifications on Frankie's ass.
What the fuck?
That's a funny idea.
What?
Who knows?
Okay.
Dude, who knows, man? He could have.
Anyway, the fourth key point of what the fuck that. Okay. The fourth key point of this chapter is the flashback of the conversation, the awaited conversation between Fujitora and Don Flamingo. And we had it. We got the gist of it. And the main subpoints of this conversation is there are around 5, and they are, Fujitora shows his justice for the first time. He mentions something, and then he says, "That is my justice." We finally get that. And Fujitora also reveals his main objective for joining the Marines and accepting the rank of Admiral. He's maybe not his main objective, but that's one of his resolves, and he's one of his big things to look forward to, if you will. And also, the river will change the world, whether the pirates like it or not. It's the meeting between all countries of the world associated with the world government, and how is it going to change the world? Whether Doflamingo likes it or not, we don't know, but we're expecting a lot of that. Our expectations for that is high as well. Also, Doflamingo is extremely displeased with Fujitori's words and intentions. After that, he proceeds to try to kick him. Fujitora blocks. Awesome dialogue happens. Just epicness overload. X55. That's multiplied by 55. Also, it's official, guys. A temporary alliance between the two to protect the country of Dressrosa is formed. Even though Fujitora doesn't want to work with Doflamingo, he is still protecting Doflamingo's country and Doflamingo himself by going against the Straw Hats, or at least that is his intention, because that's what he said. So yeah, main meat of the topic, main meat of the chapter, if you will. Lots of things I want to say about it. You guys just go for it, and you might as well start with Takt, because it's all about Fujitora.
I don't have much to say, honestly. I already said it. And actually, I have a theory about what him and Akainu are doing, but I'm just not sure if we should discuss it here or later.
What we need to do is talk about it later, and at the same time, you guys go read Divvens' theory, because I agree with every word in it, and I actually add more for it, and it's just, if that happens, just shit will be awesome. But
I mean,
about this key point, basically, we now have some sort of foundation as far as what Fujitora's justice is, and his justice is pretty simple, but at the same time, it's awesome, because I'm going to put it this way: whether this country is in haywire, whether King Riku is behind my back and suffering for 10 years, all of that is or whether the king of this country is a corrupt scumbag of a human being, all that doesn't matter until all citizens are unharmed and peace is upon this country once again. That's my way of wording his justice, and I love it.
And in a way, we were all speculating about his so-called blind justice, and now we see what the blind justice is all about. He literally turns a blind eye to, like he told the Flamingo, as Marines, our first objective is to make sure that the citizens are safe and secure. If Luffy is going after your head, he will not hesitate from mass destruction, and thus my justice will be to stop Luffy. And in the path, if I uncover secrets of this country, I am just a blind man who can't see that. So we really see that full blind justice being implied there. Like, okay, so I can't see that, so I don't know. It's like, he finally shows that we knew he's going to have a sense of justice, because all admirals have their own sense of justice. Akainu has absolute justice. Kuzan had lazy justice. Kizaru has unclear justice, and now Fujitora has blind justice.
Kizaru has troll justice.
Well, his justice is just troll.
Yeah.
He trolls everybody.
Oda was asked this question, and he told that his version of justice
unclear
is
if he's serious or not.
Yeah, and that brings a lot of speculation to what type of justice will the other Admiral Ryukugo have. I think it's going to be...
He's going to have
justice.
And I don't give a fuck about anything. I will whoop your ass before I think kind of justice.
I think the other Admiral, Green Bull, is going to be more like Akainu than Akainu is. He's going to be like Akainu times 2 or times 3.
Akainu thinks for a little bit. He uses his head, to be honest. Even with Ace, even with Whitebeard, he uses his head. I think Green Bull is gonna destroy half an island and then say, "Oh shit, I should have thought about this first."
What the?
Yeah, it's either going to be raw justice or young justice, something like that, because we do see
aggressive justice,
a young admiral.
Yeah, but other than the objective, the justice, and that. He has an objective, and the objective is to, guys, big pointer, anyone who's listening to the podcast, he's not going to take down all 7 fucking Shishibukai. All he wants to do is to get rid of the system. What is the system? The foundation of why they're Shishibukai. If that's gone, even if he doesn't take them down, they're no longer protected by the Marines. They're no longer
Yeah,
under the protection of the Marines.
and that's what he hinted as well. He said the whole Shichibukai system is going to be brought down, and then Mr. Taniyasha keep a watchful eye, because the more heinous
The more
things you
sins
do,
you,
the more sins you
you
commit,
accumulate.
the higher the price on your head will be. So the minute the Shichibukai system falls down, all the Shichibukais get a rise in their bounty, and
And a significant rise as well.
Yeah.
We're talking years of just
accumulating
Whatever they've
bounty.
been doing, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be high.
So
and like
then,
he's probably gonna get a bounty.
Actually, I mean, just briefly, I do have this, like, I'll just mention it briefly, a theory about what Fujitora and Akainu are going to do to Doflamingo. I think they're going to, then Fujitora is not going to attack Doflamingo yet, because if he does, the Gorosei will be, they'll be suspicious of, what he's trying to do.
He already did shit that is worse than Crocodile, and that was enough for Crocodile to be.
Yeah, I mean, my point is Fujitora and Akainu are going to orchestrate something that will cause Doflamingo to be stripped of his title, and then they'll go attack him.
so politics with justice, I like that.
Exactly.
Damn, that's a good way to work it in,
More politics going on, yeah. Like basically, they're gonna inform the Gorosei that this, and that, and he already lost to Monkey D. Luffy, so he's not strong as we thought he was.
I was thinking more like Akainu will, he will leak the news of what Doflamingo has done to the world newspapers, so everybody will know that. Everybody will know that. Listen, a Shichibukai did this. What are the Gorosei doing? And the Gorosei, since they're so, they're so caught up with their image. They're so caught up with their image. They're gonna just strip Doflamingo immediately. They're going to be like, okay, we have no ties with this guy, so.
Immediately. Wouldn't they kind of get pissed at Akainu and Fujitora for?
No, but
what's
Akainu
for
gonna
revealing
say?
the news.
Akainu will just say that some reporter did this. I didn't do this.
You never know if Absalom's the one who did it, yeah.
Exactly.
And this will also suit with the overall mentality or what we speculate with the Marines performing a coup to overthrow the government. So Akainu is getting his hands into politics as well now, like playing blame game and trying to get the other.
Which brings us to the next subpoint, the reverie.
Yep. That Fujitora did mention
the
something.
Political battle.
Yeah.
Political battle.
I think the Marines are going to try very hard, or maybe very easily, they'll convince the majority of the kings for something that the five elders will then have to accept or something. I do see, he did say that the world is going to change, whether you like it or not. So they do have something planned for sure.
But the way Fujitora told Doflamingo is as if Doflamingo already knows a thing or two about it.
Maybe he has heard rumors, he's a king after all. He would have been invited to the Revere.
I just want to ask, what is this reverie? Honestly.
Oh, it's
you don't know?
It's basically every 4 years, all countries associated with the world government, they have a meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one that Vivi was attacked at by.
Vivi was slapped, and then even Otohime was collecting signatures for this.
Now I remember. I just didn't remember the word for it. Okay, yeah.
Really, we're expecting a lot of it. We kind of want to see. I myself want to see some political battles going on. I like that kind of aspect, and it is, in my opinion, going to be the spark of this Shishibukai system going down
it's going
scenario.
To be something new to One Piece as well. We already see a lot of politics going on with the five elders, and then there's other force also playing politics. It's just going to add a lot of more
If
dynamics.
If Akainu does this, then it will be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be a pretty great way to do it.
I can't wait for it, to be honest. And in my opinion, Akainu is in the know when it comes to what Fujitora is planning.
Yep.
And but there's one more thing, and that's there's a temporary alliance between the two, but that's self-explanatory, so we don't have to discuss it in any way, shape, or form. All we know is that this alliance will be broken sooner rather than later. And how far is this alliance is going to go? We have no idea, because Fujitora is not going to face Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hats or current Straw Hats, because if he does, they die, and there's going to be something that happens that prevents Fujitora from at least staying along with the Straw Hats. Maybe something's going to happen midway through, and Luffy goes back to Doflamingo. But yeah. And for the final key point of this chapter, and the least eventful, but still as epic as all others, because Sabo! Anyway, the final key point is the setup for the tournament's finale, and the special arena introduction, as well as Sabo is the first to enter. 4 main subpoints about this. The beginning of the final battle of the tournament. It's about to begin. People are starting to walk in. The special arena ring for the final battle is really interesting and intriguing. Also, Diamante will participate himself in a free-for-all instead of him facing the final, the winner of because it was going to be 4 executives versus 4 winners, and the winner out of all of that goes to fight Diamante, I think, and that went all down the drain, and Diamante himself will participate now. So this is going to be the end of by the end of this, the tournament ends. And also, of course, as I said, Sabo is completely inside the arena ring, and he's in the middle, standing, raising his arm. First of all, the ring. That's the main thing we're going to talk about briefly in this key point. Does it hold an advantage for Diamante?
I think it does. Seeing the shape, it is not a complete circle. Then it has this breakage in between where the water is, and then another continuation, and then another breakage. And if we were to go without the Straw Hats interference, if all was to go as planned, then it would be Lao Ji, Mac Wise, Dellinger, and who was the other? Sinar Pink. Sinar Pink, yeah.
How do you forget Sinar Pink?
Sinar Pink, I forgot.
How do you forget
epic
that one?
Yeah, I forgot the most epic one you give me. But those 4 would be fighting against these 4 in this battle type, in this ring. So I think the ring is more made to suit those 4's battle style. Like we've already seen Sinar Pink with the swim ability, so he can go under the Colosseum ring and surface from anywhere without people coming to know. Mac Wise can float and crash all day long. We haven't seen the other 2.
We don't know. But thing is, it's kind of apparent that this sort of unique ring is going to have some sort of reasoning behind it.
It is to give. Yeah, it is to support the Don Quixote family in some way. But is it going to help this 5-way fight? I am not sure. It'll play its dynamics. I can see. Even if Burgess loses. Yeah, I can see Rebecca tipping Jesus Burgess off in some way or the other.
I would kill him.
And then he's going to rage. And
I would kill everything.
Oh, that'd be the best.
I would turn. Did you just say that would be the best?
I just hearing you rage, not that. I'd love to hear you rage at that. It's not going to happen.
Bro. You wouldn't see me on OroJackson anymore, because I would kill everyone in the world.
What if the ring breaks?
Oda should just make that happen.
How is that ring gonna even maintain that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if the ring breaks? Like after Shinjao's fight,
probably will.
The ring broke. Okay, when he hit.
Maybe it's made of Karoseki or something. I don't know.
No, that.
I'm pretty sure the Colosseum would have.
Shinjao was able to break it. So
yeah, what if Jesus Burgers goes like punch and boom, it's gone, and then they have just bits and pieces to float on and stand on it and fight.
What I'm telling you is, by the end of this tournament, Jesus Burgess will probably lift the Colosseum and throw it on someone.
Lift the Colosseum.
Yes, along with its spectators, and he will throw the Colosseum while he's inside it on someone.
At Fujitora, and then Fujitora will open a black hole and the Colosseum's gone.
Oh my god.
Wow. What do you guys? This is not fairy tale.
Dude, he always 3 time skip. He just ripped a fucking hotel from the foundation of the ground and threw it at Ace, and now he probably can rip the Coliseum out of.
Yeah, sure. Keep fantasizing, Sammy.
Wait, I mean,
but wouldn't it
he's
be
a physical.
very cool if the battle took a turn for the worse and the dynamics were changed? Like the ring was in pieces and they had to stay in their own piece and defend their piece so that they don't fall out, to the water. And like they're
As long
using,
as I see them fight properly, that's all I want to know.
it'll add a lot. And there are theories, there are speculations that if Sanji would be on Dressrosa, he would be the one to fight.
Burgess.
Pika.
No. He would be
I've heard trouble.
Burgess, dude,
Diamante, because Diamante he's from the long leg
legs.
tribe, and he's going to be the one who uses his kicks to fight. Like he's one of the kicking.
Hopefully him and Lao G are just non-devil fruit users, because that family has so many devil fruits already.
Yeah.
And
That are shared around a
These
little
are
bit.
weird devil fruits, man. But yeah, just to end it really, in my opinion, I think this arena will move mid-fight and reshape itself, if that makes sense. But I think this arena has a little bit more than just being there. It's going to be dynamic along with the fight. This arena is a fighter. This ring is a gladiator of its own. Yeah, it's just gladiators. The arena will win the fucking tournament. I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't know why I have high expectations for whatever
it's
this.
going to be. It's going to be epic. That's every fan has that expectation. It's going to be epic.
But yeah, Sabo is in, by the way. He's rocking the pole. He's rocking his, internal monologue. Ace, are you
Watch
looking
over
at me?
me, Ace. Yeah.
And that was just epic. We'll just end it there. Okay, we're gonna move on to the free talk / discussion segment. We're gonna have only one discussion for this week because everyone wants to discuss it and everyone is discussing it, and now we're gonna discuss it ourselves. So yeah, what we want to discuss is Divvens' theory and just anything regarding whatever the context around that there, and what it really is just the whole extent of the Shichibukai system being abolished and how Akainu might be involved in it along with every Marine. And Divvens should start this because he's the one who wrote the theory and he's the one who has the most details about it.
Okay, so after reading the chapter, I started discussing it with Sammy, and Sammy went like, "Oh boy, oh shit!" We were just fanboying over the general idea of this happening, and it took me time to just gather everything. And the biggest hint is their Fujitora's idea or goal to abolish the Shichibukai system. He wants to. We can compare the Shichibukai to privateers in real life and in our lives rather. And they are just government allied pirates, but they are still pirates. And in general, Marines and pirates hate each other. And we have seen Marines like Sengoku, Garp, Akainu, Kizaru, big names, Smoker, all of them have this hatred for even Shichibukai. They're like, oh, they're Shichibukai, but at the end they're pirates, and pirates are all the same, and that generalization of pirates. And it's
sorry for interrupting you, Div, but it's safe to assume that every Marine dislikes even the Shichibukai, in my opinion.
They do, indeed, they do, because Shichibukai have caused nothing but pain and misery to the Marines, and I think the breaking point was the 7 Shichibukai, whom we have not been introduced to. See, at some point or the other, Admiral Z is going to become canon because the 7th Shichibukai is said to have cut his arms. So now when the Marines realize that, okay, a pirate who has, caused so much trouble to an ex-admiral has been granted Shichibukai status, has been granted immunity from the Marines, has been branded no longer an outlaw, they must have a lot of hate inside them for that decision, and the Marines have no say over which pirate becomes a Shichibukai. It's the five elders, or rather the world government directly, who decide and who, have the main deal or contract between the pirates who become Shichibukai. And
even when they're being discussed, when Crocodile was first being discussed by the Gorosei, they were talking about how they didn't expect this from Crocodile, and this balance will be corrupted now. We're going to have to find a new. But one thing I remember, though, is the Shishibukai meeting when Laffy...
Yeah, that was a meeting. I was going to get to that because they invited the other Shichibukais as well for suggestions on who should replace Crocodile. So I think the five elders had told Sengoku that make a list of pirates whom we can select one from, or something like that, to get the hunt down. And we have seen that people like Ace, whom I presume the world government knew for quite a good amount of time that he was Roger's son, they even offered him a position in the Shichibukai. So the whole Shichibukai system is overall a burden to the Marines. And Sakazuki, being who he is, I don't think he will take orders or do anything that goes against his absolute justice, his goals. And I think when they end up abolishing the Shichibukai system, the three powers, the so-called three powers that the five elders like so much, is going to be screwed, and they are in a way going against the world government. It may go even a step higher with the Marines performing a military coup, but I think that after the Shichibukai fall, the third great power will emerge and take its rightful place, and they will be the revolutionaries.
The thing is, as far as the revolutionaries are concerned, I'm not sure about that, Divvens, because they're not there to balance the world. They're there to kind of...
Yeah,
they're there to do the opposite, actually.
They're going to be freeing the countries from under the world government. They're going to keep gaining powers and growing in military might as well. So they're going to be they're going to take the spot of a superpower, aren't they? They're going to be like this faction between total good and total evil.
What I want to see is them being involved in the coup if it happens.
I don't see.
Why would they side with the Marines and...
Not side. Just be involved with something that, if they take advantage of, could pretty much destroy both sides at the same time. Because my opinion...
That'd be tricky.
It would be tricky. It would be impossible, because how would they know how it's going to happen? It's probably going to happen backside. Yeah. But revolutionaries are well known for them knowing everything before it even happens. And the thing is, the way I see it when it comes to if that scenario happens, the revolutionaries will have to do something with the Gorosei. The Gorosei are the sons of bitches. Sorry for my language. The sons of bitches that have been they're the Congress of the world of the One Piece. And they're the ones who lead, put everything into one another. And the thing is, I am so certain that Dragon wants to be the one who takes them down, and him being involved in the coup arc is just going to be wow.
And they can use it as a chance as well to get more countries on their side. Like when the coup is happening, the world government loses half its countries to the revolutionaries, something like that.
True, that's possible.
That they're going to seize the opportunity.
Well, maybe the revolutionary involvement in Dressrosa is a foreshadowing of this happening, of the revolutionaries emerging as a bigger power than they are.
They're definitely going to be a bigger power than they, because they're really dangerous. They're the most wanted group out there, but at the same time, they haven't been trying.
Yeah, and I think it will start with this arc. This arc is when they will take it seriously and actually gather lots and lots of power.
They will start doing stuff, because even though they've been doing a lot of things for the past, let's say, minimum 15 years, because it's been around 12 years since we saw them in the Goa Kingdom when Dragon showed up with the ship and all, and it's safe to assume that a few years back he was still rocking the revolutionary robe and the and everything really. It's just that it's been going on for a long time, and we are certain that they've been doing a lot of things. But at the same time, when Oda emphasizes something, now since they're included, this is where it begins. This is where all of it really takes place. The revolutionaries' position is starting to appear for us. We're going to know more about them, and at the same time, when the Gorosei do get involved, at first, when they're initially involved, I think they're going to sort of be the ones who are doing the thing, not being done upon. Like I don't know how to explain this, but they have been hyped up since. When were they first shown? Right after Alabasta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long while, and I think they're gonna do something big in the Reverie, if I'm pronouncing that right. And around that area, Akainu will get involved. Fujitora is gonna get involved, and by the way, don't expect since the Reverie is gonna be in this year. Don't expect it to be in the first 50 or 100 chapters from now. It's probably going to be in 300 or 400 chapters because a year is
in 9 months probably at least.
Yeah.
In One Piece time.
So do expect it to happen later on in the future. And I just want to mention one thing real quick. As far as the Shichibukai being taken out, if the Shichibukai get taken, the system disappears, fades away. And some people still think that would be a huge loss to the Marines because of power issues, because, the Shichibukai are powerful and they help. It is so easy to just get rid of that gap of power difference and even increase it in the advantage of the Marines by having more than 3 admirals. Just 2 or 3 more admirals and 5, 6 in total is, in my opinion, more devastating than not really, just at least as equal, because the big 3 of the Shichibukai are around admiral level: Doflamingo, Mihawk, Kuma, these boys. But you add 3 people who are admirals, and there you have it. The gap is gone. More things to.
And then some even.
What were you saying, Recoilation?
And then some even, because 3 admirals would have similar strength to the 3 Shichibukai named, but they'd also be on the same page, because you never know what the hell the Shichibukai are doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like you saw in the war, Doflamingo was just doing his own thing for his own entertainment and things like that. We know Kuma will be on their side most likely at this stage, but you can't really know what they're going to do. So just having someone you can rely on for the Marines would be
the Marines
so
are
quintessential.
This organized body, and they know. Right, we are given an order, we have to follow it. So if you have 6 admirals, they are all on the same team, they're all on the same page, they're not going to be fighting alongside each others with, I want to do this, you're not allowed to do this, and, this is my area, kind of, thing which goes on.
Especially if you consider that all 6 or whatever number admirals will be chosen by Akainu, so they'll all have the same ideals.
Yeah.
So,
maybe not ideals, but at the same time, they're going to have
goal
the same
or whatever.
Well, during the global military enlistment, he would have had criteria for what goals do you have, what are your thoughts on the systems in place.
He's not going to go hey, bro, Mr. Fujitora, so what do you think about the current world government position, and what do you think about pirates? He just kind of studies his candidates, in my opinion, and I think Fujitora was encouraged to join the Marines. And I think when he talked about, hear me out on this one, Fujitora talked briefly about how the Shichibukai are annoying, and he gave his own reasons. I kind of was like, yo, just get this guy. Hey, what's up, man? Just, you're an admiral. Are you okay with that? You want tea, bro? You want coffee or anything? I'm a man of coffee. Get him coffee. Get him coffee right now. And something like that. I totally see that happening. And not exactly. He's not going to get him coffee, but you guys know what I mean.
He's going to get him ramen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think
that would be the skill breaker.
What are you saying, Takt?
No, it's just something small. Divvens and I discussed this, and I wrote a sort of a really parody interview between Akainu and Fujitora, and where Akainu basically says Fujitora is hired the moment Fujitora says, fuck the Shichibukai. And Akainu's like, okay, I don't care, you're hired. And
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he would do.
The thing is, don't forget, guys, that Fujitora has reasons behind why he really hates the Shichibukai, and we're going to find them in the future.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're not probably going to be too significant, but at the same time, they're going to be reasons nonetheless.
Maybe he's like Batman. His parents were killed by a Shichibukai.
Or maybe he was made
He is
blind
Zephyr in
by
this
a
timeline.
Shichibukai.
What were you saying, Zach?
Maybe he was made blind by a Shichibukai. I was thinking that might be a possibility.
Who the Mihawk? Mihawk? Swordsman?
And maybe the 7th one. Maybe they're going to change it from Zephyr to that.
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah, maybe
No.
that's it.
Never know.
Mihawk!
See, like he does have this. He does have this. If you saw on his head, this scar, it kind
The
of
scar.
cuts through both his eyes, and it gives the feeling that that scar has caused his blindness. But yeah, that's something we'll find out in the future with his past and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
there is
By
going
the
to
way,
be a reason why he has that goal.
By the way, guys, Oda is not going to change the reason why this 7th Shishibukai was.
Yeah, that's
because-
that's because he's already written it out and confirmed it.
Yeah, and the thing is, guys, Strong World was firstly mentioned, I think in Marineford, where it shows a small flashback of Shiki doing his thing and being the only one who escapes from the Impel Down and all that. And it was the same exact thing and scenario with the movie.
Yeah.
Along with the Strong World chapter, episode 0, chapter 0. There is fire.
So is Shiki and Zephyr both technically just alive, just they didn't do what they did in the movies right now? Is that what it is?
Shiki is a legit canon character.
Yeah, but is he just
And-
alive, like, floating somewhere?
Yeah,
I think we
and-
even in one of the cover pages we may have seen him
Oh, yeah.
talking to Crocus, but Zephyr is dead.
Zephyr's dead.
Zeph is no longer alive, yeah. But
Okay.
what's important is that this Shishibukai injured and annihilated
And
a
Admiral's
lot
crew.
of Marines sensei. And that Shishibukai, and that pirate, got promoted to be a Shishibukai. That alone should anger literally everyone in the Marines. Just no exception.
Especially those who were close to Zephyr, you know.
Yeah, the vice admirals, the admirals
Yeah.
themselves.
We
Except
saw like
So,
even Akainu had a little bit of heart for Zephyr, but
they all did.
Kizaru was just a troll, you know. He was like, Zephyr Sensei.
Oh, Sarina! That part, man.
I mean, we even saw Momonga cry and Doberman cry.
well,
And,
did Onigumo, did he cry, or was that someone else?
yeah, all the vice admirals, in fact, they had tears in there.
Pretty much all of them had tears, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there was-
Kizaru.
So I can totally see like the admirals, vice admirals, the toppest ranking officials all being on the same page with the general hate and abolition of Shichibukai. And I think if the world government does oppose them, Akainu is going to be like, you fucking elders, just keep your fucking opinions to yourselves and let me handle this. And he'll be like, he'll just make them sit in their place, you know.
I do see something like that happening. Not exactly the same dialogue, but I do see Akainu raising his voice with the elders, at least.
Yeah. I mean, Smoker had the courage to do that. I don't see if Akainu, like, he actually
he's
wants
a-
to do something. He's going to do it. Regardless.
No one is going to stop him, yeah. But yeah, this should wrap up the
Wait.
free
Before we end, I have to do something for Luke. Because we know Oda hears our podcast, okay? It's proven. It's happened twice. This is not a
Yeah.
coincidence. Oda, please show us Sanji next chapter. Please. Little bit of Sanji.
Okay, so listeners of the podcast expect to see Blackleg Sanji on chapter 736.
If it happens, I'm going to die.
Then it will be proven because it will be the third occasion when Oda does what we want him to do.
It's already a fact that Sanji's going to show up next chapter.
It's actually a good point to do it because the fight hasn't started in the Coliseum yet, so if ever they're going to do it, you can focus on it now.
Not focus, just show what the fuck is going on, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, do that, Oda. I'll hook you up. Don't worry, man. I'll just call me. Probably gonna be busy tomorrow 'cause I got college, but like, just send me an email and I'll see where it goes, bro. And yeah, keep up the good work, man. And rock on, Oda.
Yeah, rock on.
Bravo.
And that's the end of this free talk / discussion segment. We're going to move on to the final thoughts of the chapter, starting with myself. First of all, I'm going to try to keep it brief. The first key point with the interaction is, just, it is what it is. It was good to see Sabo, more of Sabo. It was good to see Bartolomeo doing his thing. And it was it's not good to see Rebecca, period. But anyway, I'm going to give it a good. Nothing special happened. It was just a good part of the chapter. And the second part, the palace party heads to the secret lift. That as well is good. Nothing special happened. It was a nice dialogue between Viola and Wika, but it is as I said. And I did like the remarks Kinemon did and how Zoro is starting to make fucking direction plans and actually pulling them off. That's just, yeah, not expected. But yeah, first key point good, second key point good. The Senior Pink versus Frankie continuation. I loved that part. I love Senior Pink to death. Frankie is really impressive. Vice admirals, well, one vice admiral interrupting the fight along with the fleet of Marines behind him. That's also really cool. We get the reveal of Senior Pink's fruit, and overall it was a great part of the chapter. I liked that part a lot, and I want to see more of it. The flashback of the conversation is immediately going to get a godlike for me, because that's the kind of thing that I like with One Piece. And call it biased, call it whatever you want. It gets a godlike, whether you like it or not. I mean, we get the justice of one of the best characters in One Piece. We get the beginning of what might be an incredible scenario as far as what we should expect from this abolishing the Shichibukai system will work. I mean, we don't know how it's going to happen. We don't know to what extent it's going to be taken, but all we know is that it's going to be awesome. And of course, Doflamingo fucking kicking Fujitora and saying that he wants to kill Fujitora, and Fujitora's like, let's be friends for now. And that part is this dialogue just is beautiful. I fucking love these kind of things, these clashes, mini clashes with high tier pirate characters generally. And screw you. It gets a godlike. I don't have to explain myself any further. If you disagree, then you need to get a better taste. I don't know. I love being biased with Doflamingo and Fujitora. And the fifth key point, nothing special, although it has a really sentimental panel with Ace. Why do I always say Ace? With Sabo talking about Ace. Not Ace, but Sabo talking about Ace. And rocking the pipe, arms, and butchering the shit out of Bartolomeo's name. And thing is, it's official. Diamante will participate along with everyone. There's a cool ass special ring, so this one gets a good as well. And yeah, actually, yeah, it gets a good, not a great. So yeah, my overall rating for this part is this whole thing. Even though this is you can be biased if you want, but I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to say unbiased, great rating, because if you noticed, most of the points I gave good, some great, one only stuck out, like really stuck out, and that one part is not enough for it to go from great to amazing. It already made it go from good to great. That's as far as it goes for me. So yeah, sorry if I disappointed you or hyped you less because you expected me to say amazing, but that's the way I give my rating. Anyway, Divvens, take it from here, bro.
Okay, so this chapter, I already know. I had a discussion with Sammy, and we kind of like spoke about it, because we're all fans of Fujitora in some way or the other, and who cannot be a fan of Fujitora? I mean, okay, when Kuzan was shown, everybody was like, that's an admiral, that's Admiral Kuzan. Aokiji, he handled the monster trio back then like they were nothing. They were nothing. And then we saw Kizaru, and we knew he was going to be a troll from the minute we saw him. He almost annihilated the whole worst generation pirates. And then we saw Kainu. So lots of people hate Kainu. A little bit hate Kizaru. Kuzan is liked by majority. And then a new admiral whom we see now, Fujitora, is also loved by a majority. So we are seeing a balance between the admirals with the hate and love relationship that the readers have with them. And overall, this chapter, let me start by key points so that I don't confuse the listeners. The first key point being interaction between 3 of the 4 winners, Rebecca, Sabo, and Bartholomew. I liked it. I liked this part a lot. It was a slow start to the chapter, and everybody was going in with a lot of expectations for the chapter due to the title and the starting. I think did justice. I liked the little, if it was Luffy as Lucy, and that would make for a great dynamic. I'm trying to imagine what dialogue would Lucy and Rebecca have, but then Rebecca slowly notices that it's not the Lucy she knows, it's not the same person, and she's still shaky, Rebecca. You can see it in her face, you can see it in her eyes, that she's still shaken from what happened just in the last battle. So this part gets a good from me. And let me not forget Bartholomew. He went all, fanboy mode, and he was like, "Do you know whom you're speaking so casually to?" And that was a good. It just gave you a hint that okay, there's something that Barthol knows. There's something he knows. It can be a lot. It can be that Luffy has actually spoken to Bartholomew about Sabo being his brother, or just Luffy said that I trust this man and you trust him as well, and then Bartholomew is like, Luffy senpai trusts him and I'm going to trust him too, and it can be anything. And Bartholomew is always a great character to have on screen, and I'm really looking forward to this final battle. So this part gets a good from me. The second key point being the palace party heading to the secret lift with the help of Viola. It was a good information. It was good to know that Viola knows what all is going on, though it was pretty obvious because of her devil fruit, and the fact that the little Vika started crying, and the secret passage, the conversation between Kinemon, Zoro, and Luffy cracked me up, especially in their outfits. And I think Zoro, more than being smart, he was being lazy. He didn't want to climb the steps. Even Viola was like, no need to do this, there's staircases. But Zoro was like, no, Luffy, do this, and we'll head up. And then Kinemon was in that lift or trolley kind of thing, and he's telling Viola, he's calling her a ninja and telling, oh, ninja, you also get on. And Viola is just going like, what the hell is going on? Why am I here? And that part gets a grade from me just because of the dynamic conversation and the dynamic writing by Oda. And I hope that they don't lose their costumes too soon, because seeing Zoro in that costume never gets old. You see him trying to scratch the stone thingy again. It's just funny. The third point being Senior Frink versus Frankie continuation, Vice Admiral Bastille coming in, Mac Wise. I don't need to go in depth. The chapter already went in depth quite a bit. We saw the reveal of Senior Frink's fruit. We saw Mac Wise's ability, and then we see Vice Admiral Bastille come up, and he's like, Frankie, we are going to capture you. We have this area surrounded. You are supposed to be under arrest now. And knowing where Fujitora is now, it's mostly Fujitora who has given the order to Bastille. And many people expect this to be a 3-way fight between Frankie versus Bastille versus Mac Wise and Senior Pink. But I think that this is going to be the odds against Frankie, sadly. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future. So this part gets another grade from me. The flashback of the it's not a flashback, first of all. Sammy, I need to tell you this, that it's not a flashback, and Takt pointed this out many times. It's maybe Fujitora was just missing for some time, but this is not a flashback. This is going on in the current time. And this part just gets a godlike from me. Just outright godlike, because this is my individual rating. It's not my unbiased rating. And I mean, who wouldn't love this part? And when Fujitora was speaking to Doflamingo, and Doflamingo just casually kicks an admiral, like it's nothing. I'm just kicking another admiral. Yeah, I kick admirals every day and night, left and right. And I was like, okay, this guy, that's not cockiness. Doflamingo is confident to a level that he takes a chance with kicking an admiral. And yeah, we have discussed this from point to death, so this point gets a godlike from me. And the setup for the tournament's finale, what can I say? Sabo is showing the exact traits of Luffy, the exact traits of Ace, the miscalling of Bartholomew's name, and that was funny as hell, the way Bartol reacts as well. And then Sabo entering with his pipe and his hands up, and he's like, Ace, watch me now. He's like, watch me as I get your fruit and take your legacy forward. And this part gets an amazing from me, and overall the chapter, it gets an amazing from me. Yes, it's an amazing chapter. And next will be Recoilation, who will give his final thoughts and individual ratings of the chapter.
All right, thank you. To start off with point one, the interaction between Rebecca, Sabo as Lucy, and Bartolome. Overall, I thought it was great, simply because I like that. I'm sucker for the comedy in it, but I don't know, those two characters just make me smile whenever I'm reading. So it's sort of like it automatically lifts it up one level to me, just having them there. But I love the mispronouncing of that was later on. I love the part where Bartolome is just going off at Rebecca, and he trusts Sabo already. Like they must have had a little bit of a talk, or simply he just trusts him because Luffy trusts him, and it's just really cool to see that thing of Bartolome sort of be expanded on a bit. And I'll give that point a great, especially the part where he mentions where he grew up, because in the previous chapter Luffy mentioned the exact same thing, so it's good to see that they're on the same wavelength there, and hopefully that plays a bit of a role. For the second point, the palace party has the secret lift. I did like the Wicker part, but you could see it coming. If I saw it coming, anyone could see it coming. So, and I did enjoy the comedy a lot. I really love the suits. I love when Zoro's looking down into the hidden area, and he's just like, he's angled diagonally looking down. It just looks so stupid, but I love it. And I love Kinemon making silly comments like about Kunoichi and female ninja. And Viola's just shocked at the whole situation, so that was probably, I'll give it a good. I was going to give it a great, but it was just what it was. It was good progression, and I like comedy, but the first part gets a great. Give that a good. The third part though, I'm actually going to give an awesome, just because the fact that I could like Senior Pink especially will be like just a mid-tier Doflamingo family member character. Like he won't get a lot of spotlight, but I'm just loving him. Like everything that happens with him is just extremely funny, and he's got a very interesting power too. And the whole dynamic with the Marines coming in, and there's like a three-way stare-off between Frankie, the two members, and the Marines. Is just, I don't know. I thought this part has been done really well. It could have been very average, but I mean the whole situation with Senior Pink and Frankie, but it's gone really well. So I'll give that an awesome, honestly. Borderline awesome. Just because I love Senior Pink, because I love Baby. So that's Baby. Alright. Part 4. The flashback of the conversation. I've talked the least about this because you guys cover it completely well, like perfectly. It gets godlike. It's beyond godlike even. Just, I love situations like this, and I don't know. Fujitora is just, I'm not Takt in that if you see him, he gets an instant godlike for the section, but for this particular part, he gets an instant godlike, as well as Doflamingo's kick. Man, I just love that part. It's in the middle of speech between the two. He just like looks at him, scowls, and then just throws like a right roundhouse kick at him. It just looked amazing. Yeah, so that's godlike. And final part, just the setup, the continuation of the first point. I really like the ending part where Sabo, not Ace, puts his hand up and gives sort of a tribute to his brother in his mind. Those moments are always great. That's one of the pages you want to color if you're a colorer of the manga. The part where Diamante is announced to be the participant and not the 4 members, I liked a lot because I think this is the out of all the Coliseum fights, I'm going to assume this is probably the toughest one ever because there's never been a prize this big. So things like the ring breaking will happen, and Lao G and all of them would probably get crushed by Burgess. So I'm happy that this is going to happen. This is like just Diamante. And the ring itself is pretty cool. And of course, this is the part where Sabo pronounces Bartolomeo's name wrong and starts showing traits that resemble his brothers. So it's really good to see more of his quirks brought out into the open. I'm really happy to see that because I love that part of the story. So I hope Sabo gets a bit more feature next chapter along with hopefully Sanji. And I'd give that part a great. So overall, that'd be great, good, awesome. I'll give it an awesome. But I love the Senior Pink part, and of course the conversation for me. That would have lifted it up to the awesome level. I thought it was a great chapter, and I can't wait to see some more of it. That was my final thoughts of the chapter. And now it is Takt's turn to give his final thoughts.
Okay. Thank you, Recoilation. I'm just going to be very brief, because everything has been covered by the 3 awesome people before me. The first key point, the interaction between 3 of the 4 winners, Rebecca, Sabo, and Bartolomeo, have nice interaction. This key point gets a good from me. I especially like the bit where Sabo speaks about his past and how this country is similar to the one he grew up in. So that gets a good. The palace party heads up to a secret lift with Viola. This part gets a great only because of the comedy between Viola and the Straw Hat Gang and Kinemon, which was quite hilarious actually. I liked it. So that part gets a great. Senor Pink versus Frankie. Now, I won't lie. I am heavily biased towards Frankie. Anything with Frankie in it. He's my favorite Straw Hat. So this will just get a godlike from me if I'm being biased. But unbiased rating, I would just give it an amazing because I love the fight. I loved Senor Pink with the shoe brush. I loved how he took a rocket to the face. Everything. Really liked it. And the Marines coming in at the end was a nice touch. So this gets an amazing. Next, Fujitora. Do I even need to say anything? This is a godlike straight away. Moving on. The setup for the tournament's finale is good. Nothing more, nothing less. Sabo mispronouncing Bartolomeo's name was a funny touch. So overall, if I was biased, I would give this chapter a godlike just for Fujitora and Frankie because I love both of them. They're just the best. But if I had to come down from my cloud, I would actually say it's an amazing chapter. So yeah, I'm done.
Okay, let's give our final thoughts. Final rating, unbiased rating. I'll give it a great for obvious reasons. Glenn?
I'll give it an amazing. This chapter gets an amazing from me.
Unbiased, I'll give it a great.
And I give it an amazing.
Okay, there you go. We have somewhat of a similar overall rating, and now we're going to move on to the Q&A segment.
It's quite the coincidence that both the Indian guys gave it an amazing, eh?
Yeah, it's a funny coincidence.
Okay, and now for the Q&A segment, we're going to answer your questions, guys, and we're going to start with Hyungrang's question, and he submits, why are the Shishibukai so necessary for balance of powers? At some points, most of them wreak havoc and turn against the Marines / world government, just like other pirates do, which is true. I have a brief answer for that, and some of it was mentioned actually in our long park arc when it began and the Shishibukai were mentioned for the first time. Some of what I'm going to say is mentioned, but different wording. But anyway, basically, the Shishibukai maintain balance because they are a link between pirates, who are the Yonko, and the Navy. They are privateers, pirates that plunder and wreak havoc in the name of the Navy. And what really matters more than anything regarding why they're considered to be a balance, and what really matters more than even their power, is that their influence is the most important. They prey on other pirates under the Navy's guidance, although some of them don't really like it, but to be honest, most of them, if not all of them. But they're very important, which is why they were sweating bullets after Luffy made them look like crap. And while that happened pre-time skip, it's going to happen post-time skip with Doflamingo. It's going to happen with other Shichibukai. So it's a never-ending, how do I say this? Their influence is important, and if it gets wrecked or it gets phased by any means, the balance phases as well. But yeah, you guys have anything else to add?
Yeah, I do. As well as that, like how they're the middle mode, like the middleman between being a Yonko or a pirate and being a marine or affiliated with the world government. Just alone, like they get a lot more out of it than the Marines or world government would, simply because they can sort of do what they want and still be a pirate. Just you have to do it secretly, like Crocodile. But you can see what Doflamingo's done with the title with Dressrosa. So it seems a bit uneven, and that's why it shouldn't really exist, as Vyongrong said. But just their name alone, like, if you remember the start of One Piece, like before East Blue and a bit of the Grand Line, just the title of Shichibukai just scares so many people off from doing anything related to piracy. So you can't really you can't really scale how important they are to the world government, because pirates are different. Like, not every pirate's like Luffy and just doesn't care about it, but a lot of them are pretty scared of the title of Shichibukai. So they maintain balance in a lot of ways, but as the story's gone on, they've just sort of lost their meaning, like little by little. So my little thing to add to that.
The general people, though, they're still the feared warlords, and
Yeah.
you just don't fuck with them to the general people. But for us viewers and for some Marines, some characters, they're no longer that big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, the fact that Buggy exists as Shichibukai is a testament to that, because him himself is like below average, but just knowing having that title, it's simply about the title rather than the pirate itself. That's what's important to the world government. As long as the person that has the title isn't a complete like Blackbeard where they screwed up. But yeah, so I'd add to that.
I kind of like agree that it doesn't, like how Recoil said, that it doesn't matter what we think of the pirate in that situation, in the Shichibukai position rather. But if others are scared of him, if other pirates are staying away by the name of that Shichibukai, if the Shichibukai is doing his job of, keeping not the whole world safe, but country safe, like Crocodile, even though he was planning a takeover, he was keeping Arabasta safe in a way from pirates, and normal pirates would just sway away from any island on which a Shichibukai was residing. And speaking about Buggy, he has got this new nickname, and there's a topic on OroJackson as well created newly that explains his name. And he has been plundering a lot. So he has been going around and taking down a lot of other pirates. And he has maybe achieved his goals of like finding the treasure and stuff. So that's one plus that the Shichibukai get. And I think that somehow works in the favor of world government. As Sammy also said, that they are in between the two extremes, the Marines are one extreme, the Yonkos are one extreme, and these guys are in the center. And that's how they play the balance role. Yonkos are for big names, Marines are just overall, and these Shichibukais keep some sort of balance going around in the oceans. But after a certain stage, the Shichibukai title stops making you worry. I mean, I'm sure Yonko commanders don't worry about Shichibukais. New World veterans don't worry much about Shichibukais. I don't think so. Like, Shichibukais generally threaten or sound fearful to startups or people until the red line, until Shabondi. But after that, the Shichibukais kind of are more of an asset to the Marines, but as a group themselves, I don't think they're feared by the big named pirates that much.
I agree with this. The thing is,
Yeah, I agree with him too.
they no longer, if I want a word, what you're trying to say, they no longer fear the title of the Shichibukai, that title is no longer that intimidating. But at the same time, if you're just someone like Mihawk, then you yourself you're just intimidating for people.
Yeah, that's true. Mihawk has that whole intimidating look himself, and the world's strongest swordsman, I think, is a bigger intimidating title than the Shichibukai title.
Yeah, basically, it's no longer about the title of Shichibukai that matters when you're deep in the new world, if you will. Wanted to add something, Takt?
No, I basically agree with everything you guys have said, and I think it's a nice idea that, the Shichibukai are primarily to sort of, be a deterrent to the new pirates and the startup pirates. So in a way, the world government are seeking to stop the problem of piracy at the root, like at the startup position. So in that sense, maybe they're useful. So other than that, I have nothing to add.
Not even then, they're because they're freaking assholes. Yeah. They really don't care about anything that what the Marines say. Even big names as like Doflamingo, Kuma, Mihawk, they just don't care. Alright, so yeah, I hope that answers your question, Vyungrang, and I hope that the small discussion kind of clarified a few things for everyone, actually. So we're going to move on to MDN's question, and he asks, just generally he says, since it seems that Bartolomeo now knows who Sabo is, or a rough idea at least, do you think that he will fight alongside him in order to make Sabo the winner, or do you think he'll fight for himself with the intention to still win the fruit for Luffy? Just gonna say one thing real quick. He is not gonna fight for himself with the intention to still win for Luffy, because Luffy himself probably said to Sabo, not to Bartolomeo, Sabo will take care of it, this man will take care of it. But is he going to fight alongside him? At the beginning, yeah, maybe. But at the end, one of them is going to have to be taken down, and Bartolomeo is going to be the one to be taken down.
Yeah, I agree with that. Pretty much, Bartolomeo will try his best to get the fruit, whether it's teaming up or doing it his own way, and he'll realize that the best way is to team up with Sabo, but that can only last so long. There has to be one winner, and basically it's not going to be him. And even if it is, it's going to be the same.
What do you guys think about Oda making Jesus Burgess look really, really intimidating to the point where he immediately eliminates Bartolomeo and Rebecca, like just immediately the second the match begins?
Yeah, that's quite. I mean, I would like to see Sabo do that in a friendly way rather than Burgess do that with pure killing intent.
No, but I don't think Sabo's going to do that. Maybe Rebecca, but I really think he's actually teaming up with Bartolomeo.
Because I know that Bartolomeo's barrier might
come in handy.
No, it'll come in handy for just 1 second. Once Jesus Burgess figures it out, I'm sure he'll just overpower the barrier.
He might overpower it if his initial attack has Haki alone. So I mean, if his initial attack is Haki infused and his Haki is superior to Bartolomeo, even the initial barrier surprise won't be a surprise.
Yeah.
What things do you reckon can be done with Bartos for the? I'm just imagining all we've seen him do is just put up a barrier in front of him.
No,
I'm just wondering if
I think we've also seen him attack with the barrier.
That's right.
Horizontally.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if perhaps with the ring design he could use his barriers in some way that will assist Sabo, whether it's keep Burgess from getting to a certain position on him. I don't know, something like that. But you never know. He could use barriers just as a static defense.
Yeah, create a fence around them so that they don't fall out.
Yes. Yeah, just a static defense.
No, I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, he can be the type of, how do I say this, the support.
For Sabo.
Yeah, the support for Sabo and for the good guys, if you will. And he might also put a barrier in the ground and make it holeless. So you don't have to skip every time.
They can just stand.
That's a good idea.
That's good.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Oh, I wonder if he can just stand on his barriers and even just create a barrier below his legs and rise up to the sky type of stuff.
That would be, oh my god, that would be brilliant. But at the same time, as I was saying, his barrier is easily bypassed if you have superior Haki. So
we don't know that for sure. I mean, we'll see.
We don't know that.
I mean, the whole barrier wouldn't be destroyed if it's ring size. So if he has to focus on just one point with it, that's enough of a distraction for Sabo to get a hit in, for example. So
Yeah,
it'll have its use in some way.
You can make someone get distracted with it, but
But
at the end of the
overall,
day-
I think, that's what we're trying to say, that Barto is just going to play a support role, nothing more than that. I don't think he's gunning for winning the Mera Meranumi anymore.
not at all.
Seeing that he also has respect for Sabo now, so it's Sabo who's going to be getting it. And I think if at the end there's a situation where Barto and Sabo are the two people standing, Sabo is the one going to take the leap out of the ring or something like that.
Well, if he drowns, he has a fruit and stuff.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be kind of rescued immediately in order not to die and all. But thing is, as I was saying, support character, as everyone was saying actually, and he is not going to fight Sabo because that would be just retarded from plot perspective and Sabo / Bartolomeo perspective. And we'll just see how they handle Diamante and Burgess, because we've been talking about Burgess for a long time, but we haven't really mentioned Diamante, who I think might play a bigger role than we think, because he is the hero of the Coliseum after all. And Brett asks a good question, and he asks, okay, so Frankie is now surrounded by Marines. How do you think the fight of Frankie is going to continue, and what's going to happen with him? Thing is, Brett, we kind of discussed your question heavily in the key point section, and I just want to let you know that if you haven't, you can go check it out, and you're going to hear everyone's perspective very in-depthly regarding this question. It's just that, I did want to address it because it's a really good question. Malicy asks, do you think there will be a real fight between Fujitora and Don Quixote do Flamengo? He for sure has the interest to raise the Shishibukai. I don't think there will be a real fight, but I do see them, I do see the final blow, or the capturing being by Fujitora, and he gets the credit for it.
Yeah, knowing the world government, they wouldn't want everybody to know that Straw Hat Luffy's back to his old business of removing Shichibukais one by one.
Yeah.
So they're going to,
That's his job. It's like, alright, so this guy is back to his job of just being the recycle bin of
Shichibukais.
His existence makes him change every freaking hour.
Yeah, and I think I also see something the same as Sammy happening, that the final battle between Luffy and Doflamingo, and there's going to be some dynamic involving Fujitora, and then Fujitora is going to get the credits for defeating Doffy and capturing him. And we like how Law is currently lying dead and unconscious and bleeding. I think we'll be seeing a similar Doffy at the end, being captured by Fujitora.
I would like to mention that one main thing, and one really huge thing, Fujitora might be busy with revolutionaries, but at the same time, if it's to be honest, I don't think it's going to happen where Fujitora lands the final blow, because I'm just realizing that this arc is the arc of unpredictabilities, and what we think is not going to happen. So, but at the same time, this is the most logical thing I see Malicy, as well as Div, Takt, and Recoilation see, because Doflamingo is already Luffy's
target
fight. Plot wise, Doflamingo and Luffy are already have their date. They're the ones who are going to fight each other. No one's gonna come in between mid-fight, and by the time the fight ends, they're gonna be tired as fuck, and the palace will be gone, mountains will be tilted, and trees will be flying, and so Fujitora, if it does happen where Fujitora and Doflamingo fight at that point, it'll be a 2.3 second fight where Fujitora knocks Doffy down, not out, and voila. So, yeah.
But, the thing about that is, okay, let's say Fujitora lands the final blow. He will have Doflamingo unconscious or dead or whatever, at his feet. Who's on the other side? Luffy. Luffy's going to be tired as heck. Luffy's going to be caught by Fujitora if that's the situation.
I agree.
And I don't see that happening.
There are a lot of ways for it not to happen. So I do agree with what you're saying, but a possible way
What if
is that
Fujitora turns a blind eye to Luffy? He's like,
No, I
he's
don't
like,
see
no,
him
no, no,
doing that.
no.
He's not going to.
For reasons. Let's say, okay, you have taken down Doflamingo, who is also a common enemy to me. I was going to deal with him later, like something which happened with Smoker,
I don't see that.
with
I
Smoker
really
and
don't see that.
Crocodile.
like that.
At the
Could
end,
happen. I mean,
it's very similar to Arabasta. And what if the Marines in Arabasta were thankful for Straw Hats defeating Crocodile? Here,
Smoke has his own justice, but
Yeah, I mean, there was no admiral in Alabasta, right?
Fuji, no way.
There was
no
Captain
admiral. It was.
Smoker
Divvens,
and Hachigi.
Let me explain why I think that won't be the case with him, like Fujitora himself. He already stated within chapter 735 that he has to stop Luffy from fighting Doflamingo. If and when Doflamingo and Luffy fight, he already acknowledges the fact that Luffy has a possibility of defeating Doflamingo. If that happens, it's just two birds with one stone. Two really tired fuckers, he'll pick them up and put them in the bag and just
But his
close the bag.
intentions, from what I got in 735, is not to let Luffy fight Doflamingo at all, right?
So as to avoid the damage to the.
So if he's going to
island.
stick to his intentions, then Luffy and Doflamingo are not even going to face to face against each other in the first place.
And this is where revolutionaries, and I'm going to quote Fujitora on this one, suspicious individuals come in place.
Along with Okay, now then I see it all makes sense now.
The thing is, an admiral, especially a guy like Fujitora who dislikes pirates to this extent, he's not gonna be so casual and like, since you defeated my former opponent, I'm just I'm just gonna take Fujitora, gonna take Doflamingo, and you can just go to the sunny fight.
He's gonna take advantage of the situation and just take Luffy along.
Then I think the overall answer is just revolutionaries. They are going to be the solving problems of everything.
No, you see, I mean, the only way I see a real fight between Fuji and Doflamingo is in the unlikely situation that Doflamingo is stripped of his title before Luffy gets to him because of, the politics that I mentioned earlier. That's when Fujitora is going to be like, all right.
Stone, though. Everything for him to be stripped from his title is set in stone.
Yeah. It just depends on the method and when it happens.
Yeah. The only thing that is missing is a direct order from
the Five Elders.
No, not even a direct order is needed because Fujitora just decided that this guy, Law, is no longer qualified to be Shishibukai. He's like, fuck you, I will knock you out. So he doesn't need to get the permission from Gorosei or Akainu. All he has to do is, okay, you are doing wrong shit, and I, as an admiral, will take you down. Like, that's the only thing.
But he's not going to do that now.
No, he's not going to do that. No, because if he does that, it's going to just raise a red flag with the Gorosei. They'll be like, we got
not the red
guy.
flag, not the red flag. He already stated that as of now that he's not going to do that before he deals with Luffy because his justice is to stop Luffy from doing anything to Doflamingo as of now.
Yeah,
he's not going to strip him of the titles as of now, at least. Maybe at the end, when Luffy's already lost in battle.
But wait, the thing is, he doesn't have the power to do that.
He does.
Wait,
an admiral
has been shown. Any admiral can strip Shishibukai out of his title. Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah.
Like
directly,
himself.
Straight up with one word. You're stripped.
Really?
That's all it takes.
2 words.
It happened with Law, man.
No, but Law's situation was different because his alliance with Luffy was announced. So
it doesn't matter if you have a reason.
Yeah, he confirmed it, didn't he? Fujitora said that if he's on your then it's fine.
My point is his orders might have been to confirm it first and then strip the title. That's what I'm saying. It's not like he had the authority to strip the title. the Gorosei gave him the authority to strip the title if the confirmation turned out to be true.
Gorosei weren't even involved in this. It was just Akainu.
No, it's just an example. And whoever's involved.
Because as of now, from what I understand, like with Crocodile, Tashigi stripped him out of his title after an order. Okay, there was an order which was given, but here Fujitora took it on his own. He took the decision on his own, and then he stripped Law out of his title.
I still think it came from above him.
I really don't see though a red alert being raised or a red flag being raised if Fujitora decides to take down Doflamingo, because Doflamingo he's already done the worst, excluding Blackbeard, he's done the worst that a Shichibukai can do. So if the Gorosei will be mad, they will be mad at the situation, not Fujitora, because Fujitora is just doing his job perfectly as well.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
So yeah, that's that. And honestly, they're not going to fight. Sorry, man. I read your posts in the One Piece discussion topic. You're really looking forward to that, but they're not going to fight. Even if they do, it's going to be like a 2-minute scuffle to end the fight. And even still, I don't see it happening. So don't get your hopes up. We will see a lot of top tier fights in the future, so just get your hopes up for that. And to be honest, Doflamingo is versus Luffy. I'm looking forward to that more than anything right now. Okay, so Chopper666 asks, what One Piece moments have made tears roll through your cheeks? A lot. Fucking a lot.
I'd say, I'd say a lot too, but the one to make the tears roll the most was Mary's funeral. Even if I read the chapter now, if I read the chapter now or if I go and watch the episode now, repeat after repeat every time I see it, especially when Mary starts talking, that's the breaking point. I mean, Oda is a genius for making you feel so emotional for a ship, you know.
The saddest, Takt, you want to say so?
Yeah, I wanted to add my moment. The whole Robin flashback was an emotional ride, and I was just holding back the tears all the way until the point when Robin has that small flashback of what's that giant Vice Admiral's name? Saul, where Saul says, whenever you're sad, just smile like this and, go dereshi. That was the breaking point. When she started doing that, I was gone. That was my One Piece moment that just stood out in terms of emotional impact.
Emotions. There's nothing that has made me sadder and will make me sadder than Brook's backstory. Brook's backstory is by far the saddest thing in the series for me. And I can never, for the life of me, watch the scene or read the scene where Brook is singing as well as his crew is singing, and they're just dropping down and dying until Brook just realizes that everyone is dying. I can never watch it again in my life, and if I do, just talking about it makes me fucking sad. What the fuck?
Yeah, all these parts are the ones where I cried as well. Oh my god, I cry a lot with One Piece. What about you?
I haven't gone back and seen Robin's bit as well because it's just too much.
Robin's bit was really sad, but it was more tragic than sad to me. I did shed a tear or two in it, trust me. But at the same time, it was more tragic and it was just it pissed me off more than anything. And the Going Merry, I can watch it again and again, and I'll friggin' cry again and again. But at the same time, it was short. It was as good as it gets, to be honest. Yeah, but at the same, I don't know. It's just the way it happened with Brook and how his whole crew died and he stayed for 50 years, and I have a general bias when it comes to animals. Anything with animals in it, suffering, multiplied by 50 when it comes to sadness, if they suffer or anything. And Laboon with all his scratches in his face, I don't know what the fuck to call a whale's front side, and just how they endured for 50 years, and that fucking scream at the end in the flashback, there's probably nothing that's going to be sadder than that in One Piece, generally.
Nothing. Like, maybe the Void Sentry's backstory, but other than that, there is nothing that's going to be sadder than that.
What about you?
Hmm.
Yeah, Rika.
Well, there goes my
for-
3 answers.
Let me.
There go
Wait.
my 3 answers. But damn.
Seriously, you have nothing else?
Yeah.
No, I do. I have one. I don't have sad one. I'll just mention 2. I mentioned, well, the first one was more of a happy one, but when Vivi said goodbye to the Straw Hats, I don't know why I just really liked that moment, because it was like, with the We Go, I think was playing, during the scene, so I thought that was really cool. And like just a good send off of like that whole saga finishing off. And like it felt good. But the main one would probably just be Ace's death in Marineford, probably. Would be the main one, besides the ones that you guys have said. It was just the climax of the first half, pretty much. It was like, it was a lot of a side story at the end, but it was just a bunch of top tiers, and Luffy was going through being useless, and he finally got to his brother, to everyone's shock, released him, and then he was goaded back into Akinu's wrath, and unfortunately died in his arms. And just seeing that, seeing Luffy crack, like he's just literally, like that face he has, I think I've seen that scene in the manga too, where just like his head just rolls back, and he's just lifeless.
Yeah.
The main character that I'd grown to love a lot doing that was just, like that hadn't happened in anything else I'd read or watched, so a main character in a shonen style thing, and it was just, it just raised One Piece up to me.
It has ceased to
Yeah,
work.
because it was the first real death of One Piece too. The first actual on-screen important death. And that was why it was really important to me.
It's a very important scene, and it's a very shocking scene. But I want to put it as the saddest, like when to me, of course. But yeah, that scene was.
Oh no, I agree with that.
He couldn't
I
mention
thought
the
Brooke was
scenes.
sad.
Yeah, he couldn't mention the scenes we already said, right?
I
So
thought Brooke and Mary were the saddest.
But if you want like more sad scenes, you have Chopper's flashback with him turning into him and getting shot at, Dr. Hurler dying, and all of that. That was really sad.
Actually, even Nami's flashback is sad.
Nami's flashback was really sad. Why is it that every fucking One Piece?
The Straw
all of
Hats.
them are.
The Straw Hats all have even Sanji's, in fact, for that is quite
Yeah,
impactful. I think the least
Sanji's one was just shocking. When I was reading that, I was thinking, no, he cannot have eaten his leg. He cannot have eaten his
the
oh,
anime
shit,
changed
his leg.
The anime changed
God,
it, which was sad. But the actual thing is F ate his own leg, and the suffering that Sanji knows that not to waste food and stuff. It all made so much sense back then, and I think out of the Straw Hats, the least emotional past is Usopp's. Just overall, Luffy had a flashback which Shanks.
Yeah, Luffy's flashback came, like his other flashback after Marineford to like Sabo and Ace is also part of that as well. That's the sad part. Just then again, that also raised hope because look what happened in Dressrosa.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, thing is, as part of Sanji's whole shebang is when he just bows down and starts to cry in front of Seth. That I lost it at that part because I didn't expect it, and when I just didn't expect it. And when that happened, I started actually tearing, and it was a fucking epic moment because it was a father-son relationship, and I have a really close relation with my father, and seeing it happen at that with that perspective was really impactful for me. And hell, even Frankie and with Tom, just everyone.
It's like a requirement now for any Straw Hat. If there's going to be any Straw Hat, they need to have a tragic past. That's a requirement.
I don't think Bartolome has.
Leo had his parents killed by Akainu's daughter.
Akainu's daughter.
What the?
Who's Bonnie?
But are we actually?
Really funny.
I think we may have created a problem for all One Piece fans by answering this question. Someone's going to make a compilation of the saddest scenes and make thousands cry.
You're just asking for that now. Now that you've put it out there.
Maybe.
And the thing is, I mean, even supernovas right now seem to have really sad scenes, sad past. Law.
Kid cannot have a sad past.
Why?
Because that would give depth to his character, and I would not like that.
You don't want death to a One Piece character?
He's being
not Kid. Not Kid.
He hates Kid for some reason, so that's just
I hate Kid.
inner fanboy speaking.
Probably because he's Law's rival. He's like, no, my Law.
No, I don't care. I don't care if he's Law's rival or not, but I just don't like Kid. Anyway, moving on.
I don't know how you'd not like Kid, but anyway. If there is any supernova that I don't really like, it's Capone. He's friggin' boring as hell. But that's not the topic. We're done. We are actually done with this question. Believe it or not, like 3 to 4 hours ago, we were done with this question. So, yeah. Thank you for asking that question. Thank you for making it so sad. We will end this podcast on a very sad note.
Very sad note.
Should have ended on the koala question.
I'm going to even put an emotional OST at the end.
No, it doesn't need to be sad. We can just smile. That question, man. We're ending on a sad note.
Like, Chopper, man, chill with your question. Last fucking podcast, or like podcast episode 5, you ended the podcast with us being hungry. Now you ended the podcast with us being sad. Like, what are you?
He wants to make us feel all the emotions. Next week he'll make us feel happy, and
Angry.
week after that angry.
This podcast, this question Q&A segment is complete now, and with this, the podcast has come to a conclusion, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys like this podcast, and I have.
You need to thank Recoil, our special guest, to join us this evening.
I don't want to fucking thank him.
What a rude host. We have a very, very rude host. People who want to rise against Sammy as the host, post on the topic and let us know you want another host.
Or just spam his profile page.
Yeah, tell him, hey host, get your act together.
Okay, so I thank Recoilation for being an asshole. And
No problem.
And I also wish him the best of luck in. I should have mentioned this anyway. So, yeah.
You tease. Why are you?
Wait, what?
Are you doing? You get something up and then you're like, no, maybe I should not mention this. You're being a big tease.
It's not like even Recoilation probably doesn't know what I'm talking about now.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So I don't want to mention it because it's going to bring up another discussion. Anyway. Sorry, you guys don't get to know, and wow.
Just let us end this before it gets any more weirder.
Yeah, exactly.
I just know that freaking tired I am right now.
Thank you, Recoil, for joining us, and I am sure that it's been a fun podcast with you, and we are going to have you, I think, more and more often, and you may make it to our host list as well. So, looking forward to that. And I hope you had fun being in the podcast as well.
To our host.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thanks very much for having me. It was great. Appreciate it.
And as usual, Takt, for being awake right after class and joining us. Thank you as well. Even though I don't need to thank you anymore because you're a host, so it's your duty. And so there's no need to thank Sammy at all. He's just doing his job.
I get it, thanks.
You're an asshole.
What?
Yeah, we all agree with that.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, Recoil. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Just want to get mine in as well.
He doesn't want to be left out.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.